Everyone, welcome to Milestone 3 of the Data and Research Methods Project, organized by our team at the National Student Data Corps. My name is Lauren, and I am a part of the NSDC project team. In this video, I'm going to walk you through Milestone 3, which is found in Document A of your project packet. You can follow along with me as we work through Milestone 3 together. I'm going to share my screen so you can also see Document A. So as you can see here, Milestone 3 is about diving into the documentation and learning to identify bias. This milestone should take you about 2 hours to complete, so let's get started. You and your friend Khaled from Milestone 2 agree that you should work with the dataset he sourced from the CDC's website for this remote work analysis. You can now explore the survey's documentation. This process will give you a sense of the type of analysis you will be able to perform in the rest of this project and what types of questions you'll be able to ask in your final report. So begin this milestone by reviewing the CDC website and the US Census Bureau's documentation on this survey. For this analysis, you're going to be using the data from phase 4.2, cycle 9, specifically collected between August 20th and September 16th, and then published in October of 2024. So go ahead and get started by reviewing the website, the links that are provided here in your document. Come back when you're ready to start working on task number 4 together. This process should take you about 10 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to Milestone 3. By now, you should have taken a look at the documentation provided by the CDC. And in task 4, we're going to interpret the survey questionnaire that the CDC used to build out this data set. The questionnaire is a really important document for us because it helps us understand how our data was collected and what participants were thinking as they answered the questions. You're going to want to briefly read through that phase 4.2 questionnaire, which was made available in both English and Spanish. Both are linked here. Take some notes as you read. There's a space here for you to write down anything that really sticks out to you. So go ahead and read through the questionnaire specifically in this, and then write your notes here in this box. Come back when you're done reading and writing some initial notes. I'm going to pause the video again. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to milestone number 3. At this stage, you should be done reading the CDC's documentation, including the phase 4.2 questionnaire. You should have completed task number 4. So as you read through that documentation, you may have noticed a couple important things. This is a particularly well-written questionnaire, very suitable for digital responses. And there's a couple reasons why this survey works very well, including the following things to keep in mind. Number 1, researchers clearly articulated their goals and their objectives for the survey at the beginning of this document. These key principles ensure that no questions are extraneous, nothing is outside the scope of this study. The writers were very aware that their audience had a short attention span, so every single question that they ask is very crucial and ties back to their research. That's really important. We also see that the survey is available in multiple languages. This ensures that the survey is accessible and open to a wide range of participants, also important. We see that the survey was designed with a specific amount of time in mind to complete, which is about, in this case, 20 minutes. This ensures that the survey can be completed by more people. In general, the shorter the survey, the more responses that you're going to get. The survey includes a clear disclaimer about privacy and identity at the top. Links to other online resources and contact information have been provided for the respondents. I want to note, of course, that the survey was written with an IRB, which is an institutional review board, and their approval. If you're interested in what an IRB is, this is something that you will definitely come up against if you ever do some sort of research at the university level. Watch that video. You can also see that the survey asks several demographic questions, including info about the participants' age, race, gender, sexuality, and household size. Later, the survey asks for other insightful information about the participant's disability status and location. So we have a really clear profile of all of the individuals who responded. Then I would say, because of the sensitive nature of some of the survey questions, we also see that the researchers included at the bottom of the survey some materials that tell you about mental health and unemployment support resources. So it's very aware, this questionnaire, of how the questions are going to impact the reader. And so it's a very thoughtful approach to collecting data. This means that this is a really important survey for us to consider within the scope of survey bias. So survey bias does exist in all survey data. No matter how much we try, bias creeps into things that we do when we're collecting public information and opinions. This is particularly true, as I say, of anything that collects subjective data. This isn't a thermometer, right? Reading the temperature of the room. This is someone's opinion about their life and their goals, right? This data in our data set is a little bit quantitative, so numerical data like what is your income, and qualitative. So it would be things about why your family might choose to relocate. So we have to keep in mind both of those kinds of questions available in this data set. To think about all of this with a bit more specificity, there's a couple types of survey bias that we should be aware of when reviewing a survey like this. I've provided a link here where you can learn more about different kinds of survey bias. First is selection or sampling bias. This is, as we sort of alluded to before in Milestone 2, when your data is not representative of a given population. In this case, we definitely want our data to reflect the average American family and their approach to remote work in 2025. Specifically, we want to look at a subset of individuals who can tell us what kinds of trends, interests are unique to that remote worker population. So we need our data to be representative, and we want to avoid a sampling bias. Another type of bias to consider is interviewer bias. This can be anything that is introduced by the actions or the wording of the interviewer. So in this case, we wouldn't want a question to suggest a particularly desirable answer. We can introduce or sort of suggest what we would like people to say in their response with particular wording. So for example, the question, what is your main reason for not working, is a little bit more neutral of a phrase than something like, what is your excuse for not working for pay? A respondent might feel coached or pushed to answer in a particular way. They may feel judged depending on how the questions are phrased. So subtle adjustments to language can help us reduce interviewer bias. And then the third thing I want to mention here is non-response bias. So for several different reasons, respondents may not complete your survey. So again, that's why we were aiming for that 20 minutes, right? To the best of our ability, we want to eliminate barriers to people completing this questionnaire. 20 minutes or less. A digital survey is often more accessible to people. They can do it electronically on their own time. And the purpose as well of the survey here was also clearly articulated, which increases the likelihood that someone will follow through and complete the survey. They understand it's important, so they're going to follow through. I want to note here too that if you're interested in learning about the role of bias, specifically on AI tools, there's a video here from IBM's OpenDS for All. Definitely take a look at that if you're interested. So wow, that was a lot of reading. What I want to do next is move on to task number 5, put a few things back into your hands. In task number 5, we're going to be thinking more about quantitative questionnaires and surveys. So task 5 says, another data lake resident and colleague, Benny, is asking you for help in drafting this quantitative survey she's designing. She's concerned that some of her questions for a survey on public health may prompt bias in her respondents. So prepare to help her with this project by reading that link that I provided you on best practices for writing survey questions. And in that link, you're going to learn about leading words, having mutually exclusive language, things like that. When you're done, take a look at the below survey questions. Identify problems with the way these questions are phrased. And then within the boxes below, explain what you think would make them stronger questions. You can rewrite the question if you like. I've done the first example for you, and you can use that as a guide for the remaining questions below. So I'm going to pause the video again, come back when you're done learning about the best practices for designing a digital survey, and then you're going to go ahead and respond to the following questions, make suggestions for your colleague, if any. Your responses, of course, as you know, should note what type of bias is in the question's phrasing and include specific recommendations on what you think would make it stronger. So go ahead and work on that, and I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, everyone. Great work on milestone 3. That was a ton of information that you just learned, but we are now done with document A. Next time, we're going to move over our attention to document B. We're going to find milestones 4 and 5 in this next section, and in that space, we're going to learn a lot more about data cleaning and preparation. Before you do that, please consider helping out our team by completing the survey that's linked here at the bottom of document A. Your responses are going to help us understand specifically what worked for you, what maybe was more challenging in milestones 1 and 3. This will help us build better projects in the future. There's only 5 questions. It shouldn't take you too much time. When you're ready, open up document B of the DRM project, and we'll get going with milestone number 4. Good luck, and I'll talk to you soon.